buyers now, they want to feel confident and educated before they're making the connection with the company. So that's very much kind of just goes back to the best practices of inbound is like give your audience and your potential customer what they need up front so that they can then come to the conversation already interested in feeling like they really kind of have at least a baseline understanding of what your product or solution is.
Welcome to the Agents of Change, the podcast experience you've been waiting for your entire marketing career. Search, social, mobile, AI, blockchain, and neuromarketing. These are the Agents of Change, and so are you. Digital marketing success awaits, and your transformation begins now.
Welcome to another episode of the Agents of Change podcast. The podcast is all about helping you become the best digital marketer you can be to reach and engage more of your ideal customers online. My name is Rich Brooks. I'm your host. This is episode 525, powered by the Agents of Change Digital Marketing Summit. Question: what's your most watched streaming channel? Netflix, Hulu, maybe Max? You know what it is for me? YouTube. That's right. I have YouTube on the smart TVs all around the house. If I want to watch something light or something short, I turn on YouTube. I might chill out to a recent episode from Screen Crush on the latest Marvel TV show, or another celebrity trying to answer personal questions while eating increasingly spicy hot wings on Hot Ones, or picking up a new woodworking technique from Steve Ramsey or a host of another woodworking show. And of course, I watch videos on how to improve my skills with ChatGPT, use a new feature on Ahrefs, or discover how Andy Crestodina is leveraging AI for analytics. Although I tend to watch those videos more at work than rather from the comfort of my living room couch. In short, I use YouTube for a wide variety of purposes, and I'm not alone. Lots of businesses create YouTube channels, even if their goal is not to be YouTubers. Often people think of B2C companies, business to consumers, using YouTube and other video channels, but not always B2B, business to business. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you're in B2B, YouTube can be a powerful tool for educating, informing, and driving traffic. And today, we're going to be taking a look at exactly what we need to do to make that happen. Before we get to that, I just want to talk to you a little bit more about our sponsor. Could you hear the air quotes in that one? The Agents of Change Digital Marketing Summit. If you missed the past few episodes, here's the deal. We've been putting on an in-person conference here in Portland, Maine since 2012, and we've been doing this podcast for just about as long. But now we're venturing out into new lands, the virtual lands of a digital summit. I've got 30 digital marketing experts lined up, all of them eager to share insider tips and tricks on all sorts of digital marketing that you can use to grow professionally and to grow your business. We'll be announcing the full speaker list and agenda soon, but here are just a few of the voices you'll hear from: John Lee Dumas, Tamsin Webster, Kim Garst, and John Jantz. Best of all, you can attend for free. While the doors aren't open yet, you can pre-register. Why would you want to pre-register? Well, those who do will be alerted first when we open the doors, and there are special discounts, bonuses, and giveaways for the early adopters. You know, the Agents of Change. And I want you to be able to take advantage of that. The event takes place on April 24th through 26th, 2024, but I want you to pre-register now. Just head on over to theagentsofchange.com and you'll see an orange button in the top right where you can save your space. But for now, let's talk YouTube and how you can leverage it for B2B. My guest today is the CEO and co-founder of AimTom, a fully remote integrated marketing and consulting agency for B2B tech companies like Cisco, Atlassian, Trello, and Prisma Cloud. She's a remote work advocate who in the past 5 years has built and run a team of marketers located in 6 time zones all over the world. She's doubled the size and revenue of her agency year over year since its inception in 2018, and AimTom won the Sprout Social Always Be Growing Award in 2022 in recognition of this growth. Her passion for integrated marketing with an agile approach is the key to her success and has led to over $1 million in sales for her clients in the last year. Outside of work, you can find her trying new restaurants around the world, reading historical fiction novels, and hosting happy hours at home for family and friends. And today we're going to be talking about how to use YouTube content for B2B marketing with none other than Janet Mesh. Janet, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Rich, and your audience. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Excited to dive into all this today.
So, do you think enough business in the B2B space take YouTube marketing seriously? And if not, what keeps those businesses from investing in the platform?
All right. So I would say yes and no, of course. I think there are a lot of companies that are doing this well and seeing the potential of YouTube. Just start, what is YouTube? YouTube is, first and foremost, it is a video platform. That's where a lot of the content is all video centric, but it's also a social media platform and it's also a search engine. It's owned by Google. So there's a ton of potential, but in terms of the investment side of it, I think it's been slow in the context we work with companies in B2B business to business technology. So I'll kind of speak in that term, but I think it kind of applies across industry. But there's no doubt to create video, it's an investment. It takes time, it requires resources, but it doesn't also mean that it always has to be this like movie level production of the video you're putting out. So definitely I think we can kind of dig into like what levels of production you should be committing to. But it's interesting. I think over the years, every trend report that comes out at the beginning of the year, it's always like focus on video. Video is going to be the next big thing. And that's kind of been the conversation and the recommendation for the past 4 years and more. And I think that unfortunately, companies who haven't invested in YouTube and video are starting to feel that they're getting left behind in those ways and starting just to start to catch up and how we're going to get on the platform, how do we integrate this with our strategy. So to answer your question, yes and no.
Right.
So
and as somebody who has been in this field for a little bit longer, a little bit older than you, I can say that it's probably been since like 2010 that this is the year of video. Except for this is the year of AI. It feels like every year they say this is the year of video.
Exactly.
And some people pay attention and unfortunately many others don't. Now, as you mentioned, your focus is on B2B. What differences do you feel there are in marketing a B2B company on YouTube with video versus a B2C company? What are the kind of things that B2B companies should keep in mind?
Yeah. So I would say, I think a big thing, it always comes back to like the audience. It's like, what kind of channels are your audience like already like consuming or looking into? There's actually like a new tool that came out. I always like plug them because we do use them. I feel like it's really helpful for people to know that this exists. It's called SparkToro. The founder of Moz, which is a search engine company, he left there and then created SparkToro, and it's an audience research platform and tool. And so you can actually see like you can look up your audience persona and then identify which YouTube channels they're following already, or like podcasts even, which is really cool. So we like to start there. It's like, okay, where is the audience? Like, what are they already consuming, and trying to make a connection to like our clients. We're an agency, so always kind of doing that research first. In terms of in B2B, it's very much, you kind of have to look at it from, we take a funnel perspective. So the top of the funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, of awareness to interest, consideration to conversion. So that's where for our clients in B2B, the focus is a lot on that kind of, on that brand awareness affinity. It's very much like that thought leadership content, explaining, a lot of them are like products or platforms. And so, for example, it would be like a cybersecurity company. So you really want to be able to explain these pretty high level, in-depth conversations and concepts to your audience. So that's where we kind of see at the top of like these like thought leadership or like interview style. This would be a perfect example, of course. And then kind of the next level down is like webinars are definitely like a big part and area of the video content, really providing value, focusing on a use case or a solution for your audience. And then at like kind of the bottom of the funnel is product demo videos, really showing the audience how to use your platform, kind of like that educational training, but also like opportunities to make their job in a way easier in using your product or platform. So I think then if you kind of, to answer your question on like, how does that compare on the B2C side? Not my area necessarily of expertise on B2C, but it's still humans. You're marketing to humans. So I think some of it still applies. I think where you see the difference with B2C companies is they're using a lot more, maybe instead of on the B2B side, we're very much, our strategy and approach is like, let's showcase the experts in the company in the videos. On the B2C side, it's very much, let's showcase kind of the influencers or the people who are using our products. So you see like a lot of like vlogs or like kind of, I think of like beauty brands. You have the influencers who are doing like makeup tutorials and things like that. And so you see kind of a similar, it's actually kind of a similar approach of there's experts in there talking on video, sharing how they use the product, but in a little bit of a different style.
All right. Yeah, Spark Turo is a very cool tool. Rand Fishkin actually hit the guy who started it, you mentioned. He's been on the show before. Definitely worth
Oh,
checking
nice.
him
Yeah.
out.
Okay. I was like, I think and think you're definitely know what I'm talking about. Your audience will be very familiar. So, yeah, it's
As
definitely been
you're
a bit of a game changer over there. So,
Yeah, as you're working with these companies, so when you're coming up with your strategies to help them engage their audience on YouTube, are you suggesting that we think about each stage of the funnel and create videos that fit into each stage?
I mean, I think that's ideal state, but of course, you just have to take this in consideration of like resourcing in terms of budget and who you have to create these videos. So we do like, I think it's always nice to think of like as a roadmap. It's like, all right, what kind of videos we want to create, but taking it back one step, what we look at is like doing an audit assessment of like where are the friction points in your funnel, like where are you maybe like seeing drop-offs. I think this is where like marketing and sales can work really well together if you have that relationship already or you're building it. It's like, let's take a look at the customer journey or like the lead journey and see like, okay, when our audience, maybe they've come in, or where are we seeing the friction for them to consider a convert to be a customer, and then using that data and that analysis to make a decision on where to invest first in video. I think sometimes you really want to be able to create, like the fun kind of YouTube reel, like YouTube short, I mean, or like, of course, it's like Instagram, all the other platforms. We'll talk about YouTube. Maybe you want to create the like kind of scrappy looking stuff, which actually may be what your audience needs. But if you're seeing that someone hits your demo page, landing page, and they're not converting, that could be a signal that like they need a video. And that's actually, there is a research report in 2023. I'm curious to see what they come out with in 2024 by a company called Demand Science. And they found that one of the like top pieces of content that B2B tech potential customer is using and looking for in their buying journey is first social. They actually go to social media to check out like what are they posting on social media, and then the second was videos. So they're looking to see what the videos are, trying to educate themselves. I think that's what it comes down to is like buyers now, they want to feel confident and educated before they're making the connection with the company. So that's very much kind of just goes back to the best practices of inbound is like give your audience and your potential customer what they need up front so that they can then come to the conversation already interested in feeling like they really kind of have at least a baseline understanding of what your product or solution is.
All right. Now, Jenna, you mentioned you're completely remote. And so, how does your agency work with businesses? Because video seems to be one of those marketing channels that would require you to be in the room with them. So, I'm just kind of curious about your business model and how you work with these companies that could be anywhere in the world.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I love this question. So we do it all remotely, actually, creating the videos. So when we have like interview style, or like kind of like your fireside chat style video, we record everything online. So there's different platforms. I mean, you can use Zoom, but we also use one called StreamYard where you can like have everyone jump in, and then it's like, it's a really, if you haven't checked out StreamYard, I definitely recommend it. So we use tools like that to be able to facilitate and manage if we're like live videos for clients, and or just we also use the platform, and then we kind of take that recording and then turn it into a video. Well, we're also seeing like a lot of success with some of the higher level production videos is, having people in the video and like the voiceover, but then also layering that in with visuals, animation, motion, graphics. So we do it all. And that's actually more of like, that's our focus. We're not doing it like in-person interview style videos. We're doing it all fully remotely.
All right. You had kind of referenced before, like you don't have to go movie level or like quality of the video. And certainly, you see some YouTube experts saying like all you need is your iPhone. And then you have other people who are like, you need lights, you need mics, and everything like that. How do you suggest businesses that are just getting started in this kind of find that right balance when it comes to the quality of the video, the quality of the audio, and the work on post production?
Yeah. So definitely, I would say you do need to invest in some equipment in terms of get a good mic, get some headphones or AirPods for the speaker, just I have like a little light here, and then an HD webcam can be sufficient enough. There's also a thing that we use called like plexicam that can like sit on your screen and like center you like straight on in the video. So we actually create for clients like a speaker kit with a list of all the things that they should purchase and have if they're going to be like on video. And we just make sure that that's like incorporated into the budget. It's only like a couple $100s. It's not, I think for some people that may sound like a lot, but then other companies, of course, it's not too much just to give to folks who will be on video for them. And then in terms of the post-production, this is where I would say the investment is. You can have in-house team or work with an agency that has a video editor, a producer. We have like our strategists who come in and really oversee that, making sure that like the concept, the storytelling is all incorporated in the video, and then a graphic designer. And then also sometimes it depends. Our video editor can do motion design, or we sometimes also have a motion designer come in and do kind of a even higher level motion graphics. So I think that's where the like planning comes in, where you want to kind of be like, okay, what do we want this to look like? Do we really want a ton of motion graphics, or do we just want some like nice lower thirds and some stuff to pop out in and out and make it a little bit engaging? Because at the end of the day, it's like the video, you do want it to be engaging and entertaining to hold your audience's interest. I'll get on my pedestal a little bit. I think everyone's like, everything needs to be shorter and punchier. And it's like, it does. But also the flip side of it is we all binge content, like videos for hours, like on a Friday night. So it's like, it really comes down to like, what's the quality of the content, I think is what matters. And you will hold your audience's attention if you really focus on the quality of it. But it doesn't always have to be, as we're talking about this massive production. I think you can just think of ways to those touch points. And that's where YouTube actually has some awesome analytics. So once you start to push out the videos, you can see where those drop off points are in the video. If people are just, going over to the X button, hitting X, or if they're staying on and how long they're viewing for.
Excellent. You kind of touched on this with your last answer, but I'm wondering if you've discovered if there are some best practices for businesses that are looking to leverage YouTube, such as what topics seem to resonate the best with their clients, what is the optimal length, what is the optimal frequency, or any other things that you've discovered, like this is always or almost always going to be effective for you.
One thing that we're seeing is effective is if you're creating a video or is really thinking of it as like a series or some sort of campaign, so that there is a level of like a frequency, even if it's just like one time per month. One a month could be a lot for some folks, but like I think if you're going to go in for it, is like make sure the consistency is there. That is really important, especially in the context of YouTube. Like they want the content, they want it to be consistent and keep sharing it. And that's in terms of like their algorithm and like what they measure the success of the content is like which video the user's watching, what they don't watch, and how much time they're spending watching the video, and if they dislike it. So I think very much that consistency is really important, and doing it in the context of a series is a really nice way, and what we recommend to our clients, because it's something that it's episodic content. That kind of goes back to like the whole Netflix model. Like people will show up, they're going to remember, they're going to want to be like, oh, when's the next episode dropping? You can build a lot of hype and promotion around that, around the distribution. It also is a really nice, this kind of, we go into that integration of, you can then drive people to your own channels. Maybe you have an email subscription list or email newsletter connected to the series or the campaign. So I think starting kind of that in terms of a little bit of like, starting first of like, is this going to be something that's consistent or not? And if it isn't, I think that's where like doing the product demo. So very much mapping. The other kind of flip side of that is back to the bottom of the funnel of like product demos is like, use your data. I think that's a little bit of the theme here is like, what are people searching for to get to your website currently? Like use Google Search Console to identify what those SEO keywords are, how people are discovering your company, and then mapping that to what are the gaps we have in our content, our video content. Can we answer these questions that they're asking? And then starting to create content around that could be another way. Just really focusing on the audience. What are they looking for? And how do we answer and help them solve for that through the video content? So that's where I think is a good place to start. And then it can be either format. We're actually starting to see a lot of success for Aimtel. Specifically, we created our own YouTube short series called Marketing in a Minute. So I think it can be either, your typical feed post or a shorts. The thing that is nice about YouTube shorts, and we've been testing out, is repurposing it across Instagram Reels and TikTok. So if you want to start a little bit small, see where your content is performing across channels and then compare, I would recommend like a YouTube Shorts first approach. Start there and then just really just getting into the flow of creating the content, seeing how it all works, and then up leveling from there, and then doing it across channels and then seeing which one is performing on the best. Plot twist, maybe not a surprise, our content's performing the best on YouTube. Even though we've done it across Instagram and TikTok. So that's our signal to be like, all right, let's keep going with YouTube.
So I'm glad that you brought up shorts because I wanted to ask about this. I spend a lot of time on YouTube, both for business reasons, but a lot for personal reasons as well. I don't find myself necessarily drawn to shorts, but I see them heavily promoted. What's your current feeling of how to best leverage shorts in terms of your overall marketing goals?
Yeah, so I think where we're seeing for shorts is the ones that we have, and we're kind of pivoting some things that we're doing for Aimtel, and even just for clients when we repost it on shorts, is the ones that show the people actually, like showing someone's face on the feed. It's kind of what we're always saying. It's like, show the faces on the feed. That's what is working well. It's really like that kind of, you can feel that connection with the person at the company. So that's what we're seeing is continues to perform well and kind of gets bumped up in the algorithm to be shown first. I think that's also, to your point, like it's interesting because you're always going to be a little bit on the hook of how Google is, what they're prioritizing. So just being mindful of that and being aware, like, okay, is this really like landing? Is this hitting? Like looking at the analytics and then trying to make pivoting the approach to it as you can. So that's why we also don't always just commit, like, we're going to do this for a whole year. It's like, do it for 6 months and then assess, is this really working for us? Is this moving the needle in the direction that we thought it would? And then if you have the opportunity to pivot, then, and if you need to do that.
Janet, what are some of the strategies you have for getting your clients' videos seen on YouTube? Because obviously it is a competitive marketplace, but there are different ways that people might discover your videos. What are some of the ones that you found to be most successful?
Yeah, so there's definitely, so this brings back to YouTube is also a search engine. So there's a lot, I think, if you're already doing a lot in terms of content marketing and SEO marketing, you can apply very similar tactics there. I'm just going to speak to like an organic approach first. So very much focusing on what's the metadata in terms of the description, the title, the thumbnail actually of the video really matters, like what it looks like, what it says, to like grab the attention of your audience. So, and then there's a ton of other KPIs or things that you can, in terms of, so title, description for SEO, channel tags are a big thing. So you can like incorporate your like keywords into the tags as well as like into what you're writing in the description. So those are some really important areas. There's also actually the closed captioning of your video is really important. So if you're recording it, definitely include the closed captioning. Just maybe like call it a bit to make sure that those keywords in there, that's actually, they do reward that helpful information and actually do take a look at the video in that way. They're also, YouTube is definitely improving like their accessibility of video. So that's also is starting to contribute to like a ranking performance factor. So I think a lot of the, if folks already have kind of this SEO content strategy, video should absolutely be part of that, and kind of applying some of that. If you already have blog articles, how can you apply this into the videos? And then of course, there's like you can do a whole paid approach if you have the budget for that. Definitely recommend you can boost it. You can boost your videos just through Google AdWords campaigns, just kind of maybe test some of that out to see how it's performing. If you can attract, the audience you're going for or different audiences. So I think there's definitely a lot of levers to pull, but I always recommend like, let's do an organic approach first. And then as we can like layer in the paid side of it. And that it always depends, of course, on what a company is capable of doing in terms of budgeting.
All right. You briefly mentioned channel tags. Can you explain what those are?
Yeah, so channel tags, they're similar to titles and descriptions, but they're like descriptive keywords. And it makes it easier for it's just a way that it's almost like a mapping of that Google like factors in of like what tags are associated with. So if you kind of if you think of it as like a topic cluster, you want to like associate your video to like a topic cluster that would exist on YouTube. So they already have some that exists, and then you can. It's pretty similar. It's really similar to like a keyword strategy that you're just tagging your video. So like if you had a digital marketing video, you'd want probably one of the tags to be digital marketing. And then, of course, you can scale down to a little bit more of a niche topic, digital marketing, like video, with video or video. So it's a very similar way of approaching it that way. If you were going to put your keywords, in the metadata of your website page or your blog article, it's the same approach there.
All right. Obviously, this is all in support of our business success and growth. So, what are our objectives? What KPI should we be paying attention to?
Yeah, so I think there's obviously like the YouTube video specific KPIs like engagement rate, video views, subscriber growth. Those are always the most important. Like, are we growing the audience on this channel through the videos and with the videos, and like how engaged are they? But then to take it to the business, of course, that's where I bring it back to what we're talking about with the funnel stages. It's like, are these videos being used in like existing campaigns or new ones? If you have a sales team, are they aware? Are they trying to incorporate this into their sales sequences? And being able to like track that, being able to track those, you can do, of course, you can track all this. I mean, we would recommend like using HubSpot, like you can track all the button clicks and all that good stuff. But I think that's a big part of it, is like how seeing and testing out, let's put video into this campaign and see if we can shorten like a sales cycle or a conversion or something there. That I think that's really how you can start to show the value of video and connect it to a business goal and a marketing goal of generating leads and then helping with that conversion.
I know the answer to the next question will be it depends, but I feel
I know. I feel like I'm saying that too much, but
no. I mean, it's often the
classic
case, right?
marketers.
For companies that are looking to get into YouTube as part of their B2B strategy, what's a reasonable budget, and how much time each week or each month should they be dedicating towards video creation and promotion?
Yeah, I would say so. If you're starting out with like YouTube Shorts, I think in terms of like the time commitment will be, if you're just going to do types of videos where you can just kind of, maybe a small team is going to produce and you have like one person that's dedicated to like speaking on it, or it is just very like kind of visual videos that can also work, then that will be a little bit of a smaller scale. I think you're probably going to average like maybe 20 hours a month. That's kind of how we see it. If you're doing like 1 to 2 videos a month, you can really, we like to batch the content. Like you can churn it out. If you're already like in the mindset to create video, like just record a bunch in 1 week and then just do production the next week. And then in terms of, if you're going to do like a full series, it's definitely going to be upwards of almost probably an entire week of the month that you're dedicating to that, with like batching in the production over a course of like 4 weeks to get to publishing it. We see like on average, I mean, I think the lowest scale you could probably consider of just like production costs would be around, if you're doing like YouTube Shorts, like around 5,000 a month. But then if you're creating a whole series, you're looking anywhere upwards of 30 to 50,000 a month too. So to answer your question, it depends for sure. But I think there's a ton. I think that's where you also kind of look at like the resourcing side, of course, and there's a lot that you can create. As video is growing, there's a lot of really awesome tools that you can start to really like take existing content and just start to churn out stuff. But I do think at the end of the day, it's important to have someone who is dedicated to this, either someone in-house or an agency. I don't necessarily agree with that. It's like someone, hey, social media manager, like now we're adding an entire new thing on your plate to run and own all of YouTube and create all the videos in addition to all the other channels. So I think that's always something to consider and make sure that when it comes to who's actually responsible and accountable for this, that is considered in the plans too, in the budgeting.
All right. This has been great, Janet. If people want to learn more about you or figure out what Aimtel might be able to do for them, where can we send them online?
Yeah, you can go to our website. It's aimtal.com, aimtal.com. We also have like a resources section on our website, and we do have a YouTube like SEO optimization guide. So if you wanted to check that out, definitely we touched on some of it, but you can go a little bit deeper on how that all works. And then of course you can follow us on YouTube. You can find us Aimtel and check out some of the series we're producing and will be in the future.
All right, awesome. We'll make sure that we have links to all of those in the show notes. Janet, thank you so much for coming by today.
Yeah, thank you, Rich.
For a full transcript of my conversation with Janet, as well as key takeaways and all the links she shared with me, head on over to theagentsofchange.com/525. And hey, while you're there, don't forget to pre-register for the Agents of Change Digital Marketing Summit coming this April 24th, 25th, and 26th. Absolutely free to attend, so there's no reason why you don't want to take advantage of this. We've got more great content coming your way in the next few weeks, so make sure that you are subscribed on your favorite podcasting platform. And hey, while you're there, why not leave a review of the show? Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you again in a week, you Agent of Change.
Don't miss another thrilling episode of the Agents of Change podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform.